feeling tonight, chat? It's Dr. Cheapest Sunflower back with another live. How y'all feeling? Let's get a vibe check. Clip for 2000 fam. Woof, woof, woof. What's going on? How you feeling today? For me, guys, it's been another mysterious, sad day, but we're not going to lead with the sadness, you know. Today we're talking about leadership is rare. Come into the chat, drop your questions. It's chill vibes. I just put that topic there because, you know, I want to have some type of point, but I don't really want to preach tonight. How y'all feeling? So I'm only here because of the 365 day consistency challenge. I couldn't risk starting over again. I'm really working myself through a recent heartbreak with losing my friend, and honestly, this is the point where I would probably not show up on social media because of that, but I am here because we are on day 20 or 21 of the consistency challenge, and you know, I have grown in the past couple days with just realizing a lot about life. It's realizing I don't know shit about life. Like, life will always surprise you. Every day you'll get a surprise. Like, what? So today I just put leadership is rare because leaders are people, first of all, who must be readers. In order to be a leader, you must be a reader. That's number one. Number two, leaders go through the fire and show up and really overcome a lot of obstacles so that they can help other people who go through the same type of things. So me losing my mom at such a young age, it made me like a person who knows about grief from an early age and kind of how to deal with it to the best of my ability. So when I lose people, it is a trigger, but as I learn it in life, you know, life is so short, life is not promised. You just really have to love on people, you know, while they're here, because you might not get another chance tomorrow, you know. And yeah, but we, as a leader, even like now with this consistency challenge, I could make an excuse on why I could just be sad and start over, because, you know, Genesis is always there. Starting over is always a thing. You can always start over. But the strong people keep going, even when it gets a little tough, even when it gets hard, even when you go through heartbreak, even when you go through the loss of people, family, friends, loved ones. They still keep pushing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they still take time to, first of all, let your emotions out, but at the same time you still have to be strong, you know. So it's like a balance, but that just comes with life just teaching me this, just from having to deal with grief from an early age. Now I'm learning, you know, that it is a trigger, and this consistency challenge is, I wouldn't say forcing me to show up, but it's holding me accountable for showing up for my audience and staying positive, even when it's very, very difficult, to stay positive and to show up for yourself, you know, and to show up for your people. And yeah, so tonight is a chill vibe. Come in, drop your questions, and yeah, we're talking about being a leader is rare. So being a leader is rare. Being a leader is rare. But before we get into that, I hope everybody had a great Saturday. It has been pretty much raining all freaking day. All freaking day. Besides, like, more towards the nighttime. So, it's been a rainy day here. And I just been kind of chilling, talking to my peeps. I'm just trying to check in on people, you know? And that's what leaders do. And something that I don't like is that all the leaders of the family, well, I won't say all the leaders, but some people have those family dynamics where they still have the matriarch, they still have the elders, they respect the elders. It's like a family collaboration. The family is just very adhesive. And then there are those families where it's not so cohesive. There's a lot going on, you know, a lot of generational curses still being carried from generation to generation. And, you know, so those leaders in those families, maybe getting older, or I don't know. Because there's so many broken families. When we think about the movie Straw, for instance, the movie Straw, how we watch a single mother just struggle, like no family, no friends, just struggling, saying I have nobody. And how many people feel like they have nobody with family around and people around, you know? So that's why leaders are important, and it's important for us as families to be together, to heal from generational curses, and touch on difficult topics that most people wouldn't want to touch on, you know? And that's what leaders do. And I'm really just talking about this because I just didn't want to come on here and be like all of my feelings, but so yeah, leaders are rare. So when I think about a leader, I think about my grandma who could get the whole family together. Despite the differences, despite this, like I just remember the childhood being very, very different. The grandmas was different back then. Yeah, I remember this movie Soul Food, how the grandma was. It was very different back then, like. So I don't feel like that vibe exists for certain families. But there are certain families that do still keep the connection going, you know? And then when I do my genealogy and I do my research on my ancestors and connecting the dots, and I realized, dang, my family is super huge, but we so far disconnected, and a lot of people don't know each other, or it's just a little broken. So I'm just missing the grandmas, missing the people, and you know, and just trying to connect with more family and more people on my genealogy, and not letting the years go by, because family reunions, how often do they happen? Some people don't have family reunions every 5 years, every 3 years, you know. So I think families need more leaders, more people to, you know, guide the family in the direction it should go, versus just letting everything melt away. the chat. I have a friend who was about to be kicked out the house by his parents, and he did nothing to deserve it. For the past 6 months, he's been doing good, and suddenly this happens for no reason. Advice. It's just so sad because those situations like that, I feel like I can't really say what I feel like parents should do, but things like that create those issues where it's hard to kind of get on your 2 feet. You know, now they want to kick him out. Now he has to go out here at a bad time to be kicked out because rent is hella high. First of all, and if he hasn't saved anything or they haven't prepared him, built his credit up, and taught him about like the difference between renting and owning and assets, and he doesn't have any financial literacy, or even if he does, it's still like a bad time to kick him out. But we don't know the situation and what he did. So maybe, oh, you say he did nothing to deserve it. Well, his parents might feel like, you know, a lot of parents feel like, hey, you gotta go at a certain age, or they feel like you gotta go at a certain time if you're not following the rules, or, you know. So if that just happened for no reason, he's doing good, he ain't starting no drama, then the parents might just have that mindset, well, we just want to have our house to ourselves. And now he has to go out here and fend for himself, and maybe they might be trying to grow him up. I don't know. So parents do things for different reasons, different than what he might accept or take accountability for, you know. So accountability is key. So sometimes you call that tough love. So some parents show that tough love and they like, hey, I don't give a damn, you finna get the hell out of my house. And some parents like, hey, you can stay forever until you get your stuff together, or if you never get your stuff together, I guess you can stay, you know. But, you know, financially maybe it's hard, we don't really know. But that's the day and age we live in, and that kind of is what creates a lot of generational curses, when parents might not send the kids out with enough resources or a big enough network. You hear that word? Network. To fend for themselves. So they have to build their own network and find their own resources to create the life that they want, versus having that legacy. You know, people who understand legacy understand that I need to get this child from a baby to a state in life where they are able to support themselves, and not only support themselves just going to 9 to 5 and just doing that forever, but be able to support themselves by being creative, by being an owner, having a business mindset, being a leader, being accountable, unapologetic, and just really standing on business about their life. But, you know, people who have legacy understand I have to carry them during this process. They don't just cut them off. But sometimes that dynamic can be hard. So parents do things the way they want, you know. And all kids don't really do what they're supposed to do. So then it becomes a very complicated situation. Very, very complicated. Very complicated. You know? I had 2 shots today, chat. So I'm slightly a little tipsy. I just wanted to relax today and just chill the freak out. we go. The parents caused the drama all because of having a door closed for privacy. Conflict ensued and escalated. Bitter feelings, bad things he vowed would never be said about him again ended up being said. See, that is something very deep going on there. So the parents obviously had a rule that you cannot have no privacy if you live in here. We need to know what's going on in the room. He wanted some privacy. I don't know his age, but if he's an adult without any privacy living in the parents' house, then that can be a hard rule to abide by. So then you go shutting doors and your parents like, hey, why you got that door closed? You know, then that can be a little tricky. Especially when parents say something that they said they wouldn't say. Now we have, a very complicated situation. It seems like they not getting along. It's kind of like roommates. When two roommates don't get along, and when the parent and the child start to become roommates, because the parent's like, hey, you need to do this, don't come in after this hour, but the kid like, I'm grown now, but the parent like, you don't pay no bills, and so you have to abide by my rules or get out. So if they don't want to follow by the rules, then they have to get out. And it's kind of like, dang, it's like a bittersweet situation, because now he can get his own place, have some privacy. It might be harder though, because now you out there with the wolves and you have to work, and now y'all also have emotions involved because of words by the parents. So I feel like they can heal. He lashed out at his parents, ended up cursing them out and saying he wished they were dogs. Oh my God. No, he didn't. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Whoa. Whoa. We have a problem. Wishing your parents were dogs? Oh my God. He crashed out. That is not cool. Cursing your parents out and wishing they were dogs? Now you said he didn't do nothing. Now that is doing something major. But I guess what they said to him, he had to retaliate, and this is when things get tricky, when parents and kids start to clash. That's a dynamic that, man, that's a hard dynamic. Dang, yeah, he crashed out on his parents. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Sheesh. Oof. Yeah. I don't know how is he gonna make up from wishing his parents were dogs? I have never heard nothing like that in my life. Like, he is definitely wrong for that. So if he got kicked out, then he shouldn't have. They really fucked up. Part of him didn't want to leave, but he was somehow forced to do this. Dang. Ooh. He got the potty mouth. His parents got really mad. Mm-mm-mm. That was a fail on the parents' behalf and on his behalf. Because y'all allow the door and privacy to cause all of this ruckus. Like, depending on the age, I feel like privacy is important. You know, Steely GD, I'm back. What's going on, Steely GD? Ooh, that's messed up. How you feeling today? Ooh, ooh. That's kind of like a little nightmare for him. Ooh, ooh. Wishing your parents was dogs? How do you take that back? Like, come on, man. He shouldn't have said that, man. That he shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that. Dang. Remember, I asked you the message to the world? Yes. What should my friend say to his folks? He is 35 going on 36. Now, see, Clifford 2000 fan, it's a lot that you've left out of this conversation. You said in the beginning that he didn't do nothing. You said that he's been doing good, but if he is 35 going on 36, wishing his parents was dogs, cursing them out, disobeying their rules, even though the rules, he need privacy at 35 now. That's kind of old. Like, you do need some privacy. Like, dang, that's a rock in a hard place. He gonna have to say to his folks, I'm sorry. Ain't nothing to say, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cussing y'all out. I didn't mean it. You know. But I do need some privacy. So you gotta talk to them like a man versus like cussing them out and saying things you can't take back. What's your message for today? My message for today was just really chill vibes. But I did have a simple message because I'm still kind of like not feeling the best when it comes to putting out messages, thinking about my friend. But leadership is rare, and that's just pertaining to the family. Leadership in families is rare, and that we need more leaders, not only in the world but in the family unit. Leaders who bring the family together, are creative, help the family grow, help the family break generational curses, build generational wealth, connect, help overcome the trauma. Like, we just need more leaders, like leaders to keep the genealogy knowledge flowing. So that's just my basic message for today. After just losing my close friend, it just helped me like reevaluate life a lot more. You can't just work, and get out of the loop of communicating and people because time goes so fast, you know. And that's what I'm realizing. Time just goes too fast, especially when you're working 9 to 5 and trying to build. You miss out on a lot. And I know some people be like, fuck family. Like, I talked to somebody today in my family. They was like, fuck family. They know who they are. And I'm like, well, dang. Like, but it shouldn't be this way. So I'm an advocate for family. You know, I do have discernment when it comes to things like negativity now. I ain't finna deal with no negativity. I'm for family, but I'm not for negativity. It's positive vibes only, period. We're gonna either talk about it, heal from it, if there is a situation. But you know, I know family can be kind of dangerous sometimes, so it can get kind of tricky. Like what you talking about with this parent-son relationship, that can get kind of tricky when you're talking about family. So that's why I say leaders are important, so that we can break these curses and send people out into the world ready if they want to go. Otherwise, we need to be like a tribe. Well, that's a little deep. That's some Niji talk right there, to be a tribe. This was the first time this year that happened. Last year they had many clashes. This year he vowed to do better and try to get along with them better. There were a few little issues here and there, but this one took the cake. The straw that broke the camel's back. Dang, yeah? I say all three of them were fucked up. You damn right they was fucked up. The mom, the dad, and the son. The situation is just... it's very complicated. You know how people be talking about my relationship complicated? That's a complicated situation. You know, and that's a complicated situation. To be 35, 36, living with your parents, cursing them out, not following the rules, but the rules is kind of bizarre because it's like, don't close your door. It's like, dang, I need a little privacy. Like, even in high school, I could close my door. You know what I mean? Like, what? That's kind of weird. Like, what do they think he doing in there? Regardless, he's still grown. But I guess it could be he don't work. We don't know. I don't know. That could be kind of tricky. Tricky. But yeah, I'm just chilling today, guys. Drop your questions. I'm just chilling. But yeah, you're right. All three of them are wrong. So, it's kind of weird me being live right now, honestly. It's kind of weird being live right now. That's the thing about going live. When you have a goal, like, it can be kind of weird on days when you're in your feelings, which I tend to do from time to time. I'm in my feelings today. But that's okay because when you're grieving, like, you just gotta take it a day at a time, you know? A day at a time. That's what I learned. So I'm still going through the grieving process. A process that as I get older, it's just like I'm realizing that life just ain't fucking fair. Like, what the fuck? Which is why I thought about leaders, like how they keep the people together. That's important. Being a leader, like not falling for the generational curses where you feel like fuck family. Like so many people feel like that. Like dang, everybody just feel like that. I talk to too many people in my own family who feel like that. They be like family. Like why y'all like that? It's weird. Like, but I get it if people done did things to you where you just gotta be like I don't fool with them, but that can't be every situation. You know. And that's not every family. This is just very select people, but I do get that energy a lot. You know? And if you're a chosen one, you really have like an isolated life sometimes. You gotta stand in the paint and be that leader, which is rare. You know? My friend did his best, but he couldn't take it anymore. He crashed out. How should he handle this? This was with him and his dad. Your friend may need some counseling, first of all, to figure out why is he so angry, and the family may actually need some counseling so that they can learn how to communicate without the anger, honestly. Yeah, they may need some counseling. So I would recommend family counseling to help them hash this out in a safe way versus the lashing out, the moving out. It's just too much drama going on. You know, I don't feel like they could talk without the counseling. And if they do, they have to learn how to not, you know, say things like, I wish you was a dog. Like, that's kind of like mean as hell. They say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Well, baby, listen. Some words be hurtful as hell. Like, shut your mouth when you talking. But I get it. When the heat is on, like in the heat of the night, you pissed off, The door shut, parents pissed, son pissed. They not seeing eye to eye. They don't really give a fuck. So they just saying whatever the hell they want, and nobody's really thinking rational. So I would tell them to handle this with a mediator or some counseling or something like that first, you know. And then if they can't live together, maybe it's time for him to literally move out. But if he's not able to live on his own, then he have to respect them damn rules. But you know, some people, they go to jail, they don't have no privacy. So he have to just respect the rules and have no privacy, or just talk to his parents. But I think that he needs privacy, like. But every situation is tricky. But they need to start with counseling, because it seems like they done took it to saying things that you wouldn't say, hurtful things. Words hurt, especially when it comes from parents or children. It can really be hurtful. So that's the dynamic that is very complicated, especially when it comes to your dad. Those can be very complicated relationships. I've had a very complicated relationship with my own dad, but we both agree that honesty is the best damn policy. You tell me how you feel, I'm going to tell you how I feel, especially coming from a child standpoint. Because, you know, a lot of times as young people, you don't feel comfortable not telling your parents how you really feel, but telling them how you really feel. But as you get older, you have to do these things so y'all can have a real dialogue and heal. You know, whatever keep coming up is obviously an issue. So they need to talk about that. Heal from that. Forgive and move on. And if he can't shut the door, why can I shut this door? When I get it, this is their damn house. So if they have a rule you can't shut the door, then, you know, I guess he can't shut the door. You know what I'm saying? Or he gonna have to, hey man, y'all need to give me some privacy. Or he have to pay a bill, I don't know. Offer them some money for some privacy. I don't know. But I hope they really heal from that situation. My friend is autistic, and the dad says he can't be trusted, can't do anything. All this bad stuff he vowed on January 1st would never be said again, even compare him to other people in the church he attend. Oh my goodness, now you ain't say all that now that totally changes the situation. This isn't the first time the dad made these comments about him. You didn't tell me that, first of all, he has autistic, or he is autistic. And depending on where he is on the spectrum and how independent he is, I don't really know. That's definitely a situation for a professional. Maybe an autistic counselor to help the parents understand his needs, but also at the same time like safety. So it seems like a very tricky situation. And then they're going to church, and you know, the church, you know, sometimes people in the church be the main ones gossiping and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that about the church, but you know what I mean? Sometimes the church don't really have nothing to do with it. People just are who they are outside the church, in church. Sometimes the pastor be doing crazy stuff in the church. You know, so when the church thing, I don't really know how much that play a part in it. My friend said he can read at age 2. That's a tricky situation. That's very tricky. I don't even know what to tell you for this situation. I don't know what to tell you for this situation. Because if he's autistic, that changes things. The dad is then a preacher? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, you left out a lot of details. Dynamite. What in the world? What the fuck? Man, you left out all the juicy details. Wow. What in the world? I wasn't expecting that now. He's a preacher? Oh, man. But you know one thing about the preacher, they just people. I see too many things about preachers, especially, yeah, they be on some bull dog shit. Yeah, especially after, what is his name, Marvin Sapp held the church hostage for some money. You know, that preacher title, you gotta really use discernment. Because they be on some, I don't know. So that's what I just said. Behind closed doors, people are people, whether they're a preacher or not. Things be different when you get behind closed doors. That's why you should never judge people. You know, you just should never do it. No judgment zone. Even preachers, the leaders. That's important. This whole thing has important to do. It's very important when it comes to a leader being rare, because everybody have leader clothes, but are they leaders in the spirit? Are they a leader in the spirit? Are they really standing on what they are presenting to be that type of leader, to be a preacher, to be someone who is guiding people to, you know, a better quality of life, we'll say. But how you doing that? But behind closed doors, your household is not who people think it is. You know, my grandma used to listen to this song. I'll never forget it. I think it's the Williams Brothers. I could be wrong. Sweep around your own front door before you try to sweep around mine. You know, leaders sweep around their own front door before they try to sweep around other people's front door. So like I told you, with your friend and the dad, that's going to take some true counseling, because as a pastor, a preacher, he already think my word is bond. You got to listen to me. And if he don't listen to his dad, then you see what happened. He got kicked out. But he's autistic, so what does he do now? That's just a really sad situation. And I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that situation. I really think counseling is the best thing, because the counselor is going to be able to figure out what's truly going on, because we just speculating from a third eye, and that's not enough information to say, okay, what should you tell your friend? Because your friend has something he's dealing with. You know, his dad is a preacher. He got kicked out. He's older. It's a lot going on. So I feel like you should tell him to ask his parents, can they go to counseling? So they can help understand him and his needs, and he can understand his parents, especially if they have to cohabitate. Because I'm not the expert on that. That's a little tricky. That's above my, you know, that's above my education level dealing with that type of situation. But that's where I would start. Just coming from an outsider looking in without a lot of information about the situation, I think counseling. Mhm. If you don't do counseling, you guys have to have a conversation to figure out what's going on. But my fear is that without a mediator, without a counselor, the dad who is a preacher is gonna be the leader in the situation, and the son may, I don't know, I don't really know. I don't know. I'm really just chatting. Yeah. But yeah, that is tricky, tricky, tricky situation. Tricky. Someone coming to inspect the house and they are rushing to make it look presentable. My friend rushing to clean his room and the parents going to inspect his room tomorrow. He has little time. Someone is coming to inspect the house and they are rushing to make it look presentable. My friend rushing to clean his room and the parents going to inspect his room tomorrow. He has very little time. Um, so he doesn't clean his room. Um, Seems like if he knows how to clean up, then he better have it ready by tomorrow. I'm sure his room ain't that big. He have little time, but you gotta do what your parents say. They still the parents, you know. That's the thing. When you live in somebody else's house, you gotta play by their rules. You really do. You really do. You know. So I hope you get it done. I hope you get that done. Yeah, guys, I'm just chilling here right now. Chilling like a villain. We're on day either 20 or 21 of the consistency challenge. My time has been going so fast. And I'm just trying to slow life down a little bit, you know? Honestly. Just slow it down a little bit. Take time to stop and smell the roses. You know what I mean? That's all. Part of him doesn't want to move out. He loves his folks, but he doesn't like how they're going. Things he wanted to do in there he can't do now, like his studies, his puzzles, his laptop, etc. It seems like with the information you're telling me, he has an issue with cleanliness, maybe. If his parents are inspecting his cleanliness, then he has to keep it clean. And I guess that has something to do with the autism, maybe? I don't really know. So that's why it's such a tricky conversation for us to figure out on the live stream. And it seems like he don't want to leave, so he has to really just play by the rules and try his hardest just to keep his area clean, you know? So just tell him to read some books if he likes to read on cleaning and make that a skill just to keep his room clean. If he left to him, that would mean he gave up, quit, allowed their behavior to chase him away. Well, tell him not to quit. If he loves his parents and he want to stay, he just got to abide by their rules and apologize for wishing that they were dogs. Because that's a no-no. You don't do that. You don't disrespect your parents like that. You know, if he don't want to quit. You know what I'm saying? So he gotta apologize. 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 Hey, he gotta apologize. And tell his parents that he didn't mean that. Because it seems like he's not ready to live on his own. He's not ready. He's not ready. Y'all don't mind me. Don't mind me. But yeah, tell him not to quit, but he's gonna have to apologize. Cause some mean things are said, and anytime some mean things are said, you have to lead with an apology. You can't just jump back in and be like, oh, let's forget about it. No, you have to talk about it and, you know, really get your feelings out so that it doesn't continue to come up and ruin your life. You know. And sometimes you just have to agree to disagree, you know, so everybody can't get along. Sometimes you have to agree to disagree so that you can have peace in your life, you know. And maybe it's time if he could move and live on his own, then maybe that's that time. But it seems like he's not ready for that, so he really just gotta abide by the rules. So he just have to abide by the rules, talk to his parents, and just be a man about it. And accept accountability. He wanted to clean his room before, but he was too busy doing his project and such. He just got lazy and forgot the series of events surrounding it he didn't like or is proud of. Well, it seemed like he just didn't clean up. I knew that was probably the problem. He just got to clean up. You gotta keep it clean. You can't get lost in the sauce. You gotta scrub, sweep, mop, vacuum, fold the clothes, wipe things down, dust. You wish you'd done it sooner. Hey, if you can't do it sooner, you gotta do it now. It ain't gonna take forever. I'm sure it's not like a huge mess. And if it is, you just gotta stay up all night to prove that you don't want to leave. So maybe they don't want the door closed because they want to make sure the place is clean. You know, so you just gotta do what your parents say, guys. If you're still living at home, you gotta stop wishing and start doing. Stop wishing and start doing. You know? But yeah. I know this was a crazy live, guys. I really didn't talk about much. This was chill vibes. We just been chitting chatting about Clifford 2000 friend who cussed his parents out, called his parents dog, or wish they was dogs, which I thought that was crazy. But really, we were supposed to be talking about being a leader is rare. And honestly, that was just like about the family dynamics and really just chill vibes. and we ended up trying to figure this situation out. But there's a lot going on with this situation that it's just too complicated. You know, if you having issues with the family, counseling may be the best thing for you. So that way you can talk about it without all the yelling and the cursing and the fussing and the fighting and the extra stuff. Easier said than done, because some families don't want to go to counseling. They're like, hell no, we ain't going to no damn counseling. Fuck you, like that. But if you really love these people, you would talk about it and hash it out, you know. The reason he says he wished his parents were dogs is because he hated the bad things said about him despite his best efforts to change and the vows he made, etc. He hated the conflicts and said he'd... Marlisha, good evening. How are you today? Said he'd get along with them and like them better if they were dogs. I don't mean to laugh. It just sounds so crazy. That is just so mean. Like, God, I wish your parents was dogs. Like, come on, man. He should have never said that. He should have never said that. Like, they're taking care of you. You gotta be grateful. You know? Gratefulness goes a long way, guys. It does. These family conflicts can get out of hand. They really can. It really can. Communication is key, not just for romantic relationships, but also for family relationships. A lot of families never heal from the trauma, and they end up not speaking, not talking, not caring, and they end up like the family member I talked to today said, fuck family, and that's how they ended up. And then you go through life broken apart, perpetuating that hood to hood mentality when family need each other. Don't be bamboozled feeling like the tribe don't need to be the tribe, because, you know, that's just the way shit going. It's insane. Family needs each other. That's why leaders are rare, because everybody got this weak ass mindset that family don't mean nothing. It's the wrong mindset. Something is going on with the dynamics, with the communication. These are different types of generational curses. Okay? Pardon the late arrival. I'm holding on. I hope y'all doing well. Yes, holding on. I am doing... I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just doing okay. I'm doing well. I can't complain really about much, but I do feel still sadness. A lot of sadness today about losing my friend, because, you know, we just have those feelings. But at the same time, I'm proud for pushing through and not quitting on this consistency challenge, you know, even though I'm feeling that way. But I'm still here, chit-chatting, hanging out with my tribe, hanging out with my supporters, because this is my goal for the next 365 days, is to show up even when the breakdowns come, because I know that there's always a breakthrough and somebody need this, you know. His folks are beyond talking at this point. He always says this whenever they end up in a conflict. My friend is a dog fan. Imagine what his folks look like as dogs. How is that wrong? Sorry about the typo, using end-screen keyboard on my touch-screen laptop. You just said so much. So his folks are beyond... Yeah, your friend have a lot going on. He got a lot going on. And I see what you're saying, that he wished that his parents was dogs. But that's just so mean. Like, it's just mean. Like, what? It's just mean. Telling the pastor, hey, pastor, I wish you was a dog. Like, that's mean. So, you know, as family, we have to apologize when we've hurt people. Or if you hurt somebody, you just have to apologize and take accountability and move forward. And if you can't, then you got to agree to disagree, you know. But don't keep creating wounds and opening wounds and being with the drama. You know what I mean? I love my family, but I don't do the drama. The drama can stress you out. It can when it comes to family. Agreed, leaders are rare. They are very, very rare. Very, very rare. Leaders go through the fire. Leaders are imperfect, but leaders are always learning. Leaders are always trying to be that unicorn and make a difference and understand the dynamics and keep the communication growing and learning from mistakes. You know, and we need more leaders in the family, more people to keep the connections going. Know when we need to go to counseling or this family dynamic messing up, maybe y'all need to go in. We got somebody in the family who can mediate so that things don't keep breaking down. Because compared to when I was a child growing up in the 90s to now, when it comes to family, it's a lot different. I don't know if it's the social media. I don't know what it is. But family is very different. But like I said, this is not all families. Some families have it together, but a lot of families, when you come from generational curses, those families have a lot of things that they deal with that they don't talk about, that they just cover up, and you know. So healing is important. My friend hates having to go through the drama and have to go back to them after all is said and done and apologize. No more, he said. Well, listen, if he tired of apologizing to his parents, then he got to get his own place. It's one of the two. You can't have your cake and ice cream and eat it too. Like, if you're going to live with them, you got to abide by the rules. If you're not and you're over it, then you got to go and find your own place. Point blank, period. There's no in between. You know? I remember when I first moved out, against my elders' wish, I wasn't living with my mom or my dad, but the person I was living with was a relative, and they said, hey, don't leave yet. And I was hard-headed as hell, and I thought that I was grown, and I left home, and I was like, damn, now I gotta pay bills. No! My grandma used to tell me something, and this might be the message for today. She used to tell me something, and this is not to the older people, this is to the younger people who might ever come across this video. Stay a child as long as you can, or stay a young person as long as you can. Don't rush to grow up. Don't rush to get out in the world, because the world is not what you think it is. It's really not what you think it is out here. Unless you come from a legacy. I'm talking about people growing up in the hood. It's not what you think it is. Stay a child as long as you can. My grandma used to tell me this all the time, and I'd be damned. As soon as I turned 18, I was like, I'm grown! I want out! And that's when the bill paying began. Do I regret that decision? A lot of things people don't regret, but that's one decision I probably shouldn't have made. But it grew me up, but it just made my life start with stress. Like, now I have to stress about bills and go to school and be grown and try to manage relationships, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, like not making good decisions about love and life and a lot of things when you don't listen to your parents and you don't stay a child as long as you can and just have fun and live your best life. Don't rush out into the world, because the world is not a friendly place when you really get out. You really have to move strategically and have your stuff together, especially if you want to be out on your own. People are no longer family oriented, not outside of their immediate. Yet people run in circles and isolate good people. Yes, that is so true. Where would he go? He has no friends. He lived in the same room all his life pretty much. Oh, hopefully his parents just trying to teach him a lesson. You said he got an inspection tomorrow. He got to clean the room. I mean, he just got to abide by the rules. Like, is he a gamer? Oh, that's a good question. How old is your friend? Is he a gamer? Clifford 2000 fan. His friend is 35 or 36, he said. And he's autistic. And he lives with his parents, and his dad is a preacher. And they got into it. He told his dad and his parents he wished they were dogs. And his parents said something mean to him. So I just said it was a tricky situation. Counseling is the best thing to do. He obviously can't leave home, so he just has to. But he's autistic, so maybe he's emotional right now. He just really has to calm down. They gotta talk. Communication is key. Communication is key, guys. It's key. For everything you go through, it is key. You gotta have those tough conversations that nobody wanna talk about. You gotta talk about those things. Everybody wanna just brush over it and act like everything copacetic. No, we gotta talk. I told him he should try again to make up to them and make it work, but he said no. He gonna make his life hard by saying no, especially if you're not ready to get out into this mean world where people ain't gonna love you like your parents. If you've been able to stay with them that long, you know, that's some love. Whoa, that's rough. Yes, that is rough. It's hard. It's hard out here for when you're trying to get this money for the with the gas money, money. The whole he needs to get into life. Woo, yeah, he got to get into life. But my thing is, when you talk about autism, it depends on how, well, where he is on the spectrum. You know what I mean? So when you talk about that, it's a whole nother layer to this issue. It's a whole nother layer. It's a whole nother layer. But he need to get into life, guys. If you're not into life, listen, man. Don't work your days away. Get into life. Every day I'm trying to get into life. Cherish life. Every day wake up with a positive attitude, a positive mood. And that can get hard. Because life is a little crazy right now. Groceries is high as hell right now. Like, what? And then when you go out to eat, half of the people got a damn attitude with you. It's like, dang, you need to get another job if you got this bad attitude. But you know you can't talk to people flip when you go to the restaurant. Because they fixing your food, so it's like, I can't eat out no more. The attitudes not matching the price increase, not matching, I don't trust you now to fix my food. You gotta be very selective, so it's hard out here. I don't know if he should really move out. If he's saying no, that means he gotta have a plan, and he obviously ready to be grown. He is grown. He is 35. At this point, the parents are beyond talking. They don't want to hear it. They just want him gone. Shockingly surprising that happened after 6 months of good relationships. Things happen. With autism, he can still work, have a hobby, find a circle of people that can relate to him on some level. Baby steps are amazing because they motivate you. Maybe that's what he needs. I don't know much about autism when it comes to like that family relationship when you get older, living with your parents, what you're capable to do. I did work for the Department of Disability, so we dealt with a lot of mental health issues. So it all boils down to, can he perform his ADLs? His ADLs is his activities of daily living. Like you said, can he work? Can he have a hobby? Find a circle of people? Maybe living on his own is good, Because now, you clean up when you want to clean up. You can shut the door if you want to shut the door. But also, when the bills come, you pay those bills. So that can be tough. A few incidents here and there, but they talked it out. But now it's back where he was before the year began, and he made all these vows to be better. Rock in a hard place, it seems, my friends. Rock in a hard place. That's a tricky situation. So many people can't afford to rent. Like, rent is too high. Like, I think it's a bad time to leave. If you're able to stay with somebody, your parents or something, then you need to stay there unless you're trying to get a house. I'm familiar. My friend's son has autism. He is in his early 20s now. What? And Is he independent? Like, does he live alone? That's why I say it's so many scenarios of autism. There's a spectrum, you know. I've known him since he was a baby. Wow. A baby? I really need to get more information. Lives with her. Mm. So he lives with your friend. So a lot of them, I guess, still live with parents. Maybe. I want to know more about this. Let's do a little. Let's do a little research. But they've been through it. Wow. That's why I said when he mentioned that, he's a deep gamer. Oh my goodness. Shocking how this relationship fell apart so quick, all because of a stupid door. He had it closed for 3 weeks since his sister was acting up, making noise and causing drama. He's gotten used to it. Oh my goodness. Wow, he's a deep gamer. See, I'm not really a pediatric dentist anymore. I'm more like cosmetic and adult dentistry. But when I was seeing younger adults, the gaming is very addictive. They will game and not brush their teeth, not floss, like just eat anything, like stay in a room and just game. So that can be very tricky, especially when you add autism on top of that. Now you're isolating yourself. Only leave out the house when she goes grocery shopping, etc. He's very intelligent though, no cap. And I hear that autistic people are very intelligent. So I just did a little research. It says autism spectrum disorder, ASD, in adulthood, especially around age 35 and beyond, can look quite different from how it presents in children and is often misunderstood or overlooked in older individuals. Here's an overview of what it might look like and what to consider at this stage of life, especially when you get to be 35, because that's very different. So that's when you ask me this, I'm like, I have no clue how to help you because I don't know. That's a very tricky situation. Yep, exactly. She makes him clean himself up. Wow. Yeah, because they get so lost in whatever they're doing, like gamers. They don't brush their teeth. They don't care. The personality is like, very shy, closed off. But anywho, it says, what is autism spectrum disorder? Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by differences in social communication, sensory processing, repetitive behaviors, or intense interests, like deep gaming. Cognitive processing styles. It's called a spectrum because it ranges widely in how it affects people. Some adults may be nonverbal with complex support needs, meaning they don't talk, but they have very complex support needs, while others might be highly verbal but struggle with executive function, relationships, or sensory overload. Wow, this goes deep. My friend is not a gamer, but he has gotten used to having the door closed like that since the drama with his sister. You're a doctor. Is this normal for him to do this? According to the research that I'm reading now, and I'm a dentist, so my specialty is mostly on teeth, but we do deal with patients who may be autistic and patients who go through these different type of things. So I have to be very familiar with all different types of people. So what I'm finding with what we're just reading tonight is, like I said earlier, the spectrum ranges. So it just depends on a case by case basis. And as a dentist, I would likely correlate with their medical doctor to see what's the history, to see the verbal, nonverbal cues, and just prepare them for dentistry. So it will be very different process versus just bringing someone straight in and da 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 da. With people who are on the spectrum, you have to do those situations different. Just like any patient who has different mental or physical problems, you have to adjust accordingly. So what's normal, that's a very tricky situation. If he has sensory issues, maybe his sister being loud bothers him, you know. So that's why I said they need some counseling to see the true root of the issue, because maybe the family doesn't understand him and they are overlooking his autism at this age, but it doesn't just go away, is what I'm finding. At 35, it's unfair if they haven't prepped him for independence. That's exactly what I said earlier. However, he may survive out of natural inclination at 35. Exactly. So it just depends on where he is on the spectrum. That incident took my place that night. My friend was going through a roller coaster of emotions. No time to process what happened. All the punishments the dad was spitting out. And that could trigger him autistically. That could trigger something in him, you know. So that's a very unfortunate situation, especially knowing that his dad is a preacher. But sometimes parents get frustrated and tired, you know. So every person is going to have a different perspective on this situation. All right. But it says autism at age 35, because I never even thought about that. Because we always think about the children when it comes to autism. But what happens when these children get to be adults? And when I was working for the Department of Disability, we dealt with a lot of mental health issues. And like I said, it all depends on if you can do your activities of daily living. It also depends on what the doctor says that you can do. And if they think that you need disability, do you need, you know, support to the point where people are coming in and changing you and feeding you, or do you just need basic support where you have somebody in the home with you, or are you independent enough to live alone? So there's a whole different spectrum. And yes, autistic people are very intelligent, but like it said, they have issues with differences in social communication. Remember earlier, communication. Wanting to talk to a counselor that is familiar with autism is very important. Not just any counselor, because they might not understand. Sensory processing, so noise, sight, seeing things, hearing things, just the environment. You got to learn what it is about this specific person, because everybody is different. They have repetitive behaviors, intense interests. So you said your friend likes to sit in the room and do puzzles and things like that. So he's so involved in that he doesn't think about cleaning like a regular person would be like, oh, let me clean up. I made a mess. He's not thinking about that. So the parents got to understand, they probably thinking, dang, you're getting older. When is it going to end? But it probably, that's just how he is, you know, and it takes baby steps, you know. So it says, number 1, better masking. Oh, hold on. I think I skipped something. No, I didn't. Autism at age 35 and beyond. What changes? Number 1, better masking but more burnout. It says many adults, especially those diagnosed late or self-diagnosed, learn to mask their autistic traits to fit in socially and professionally. So they mask their issues, and it ends up burning them out because they don't have the capacity to mask it for so long, and you feel tired because you can't be yourself, so you try to fit in, but really something is going on. You need a different setup. Masking can be exhausting and often leads to autistic burnout, a form of deep mental, emotional, and physical fatigue. So maybe he's been masking what he's going through because he wants to make his parents proud. Knowing that, dang, I'm having issues with remembering to clean up because my brain is so focused on this. His parents don't understand because he's saying that he's going to do these things, but deep down, mentally, he may not be capable to do that. You know, it can be very deep. First, having the door taken down, then saying no vitamins or daily supplements, like the dad wants to kill him, then threatening to call the cops and kick him out. My things have escalated so fast. That's sad. As you can hear from what we're reading now, it's a very deep situation, very deep, and I don't think his dad is helping it out. His dad seemed like he might be triggering a lot of this, and that's just really sad. When the parents react negative, he goes negative, and that's not a good combo. It all goes downhill from there. So it says number 2, increase self-awareness. With age comes more reflection. Many autistic adults start recognizing patterns from their past, social misunderstandings, sensory sensitivities, or difficulties with transitions that makes more sense in hindsight. This often leads to a late diagnosis or self-identification in adulthood. So he's probably having a difficulty with transitions, which is what we're talking about now. Transitioning from living with his parents to living alone, and now he's saying, dang, I'm getting older, I need privacy, but at the same time, is he ready for that? So it's like they need to really seek some counseling. Number 3, executive function challenges. Tasks like planning, organizing, time management, emotional regulation might become harder with increased life responsibilities such as parenting and work demands. Okay? Some experience worsened anxiety or depression due to cumulative stress and unaddressed needs. So all this sounds exactly like what you're talking about, that he's going through. Issues planning to clean the room, organizing. This is all a part of his health issue. And the parents are making it seem like he's just this regular 35-year-old when he's really masking all the things he's going through because he wants to make his parents proud, but in actuality it's all turning into a big snowball. That's why I say autism, when you said that really goes deep. Like, it goes a lot deeper than what he might even be telling you, because you're just his friend. Those are his parents. Relationships and social life. Some autistic adults form deep, meaningful friendships and relationships, but still may struggle with unspoken social rules, overstimulation, or empathy misunderstandings, often misread as coldness. Others may feel lonely or socially isolated, especially if they've never been understood for who they truly are. When his parents react negative, I already read that. It always happens and no good ever comes of it. Nothing is good ever going to come from that because they need to involve some more additional help. Health impacts. Sensory sensitivities may intensify or change. Chronic stress or anxiety from masking or lack of support may contribute to physical symptoms like GI issues, migraine, and fatigue. Sleep disorders, ADHD, OCD, depression often co-occur and become more apparent and more disruptive in midlife, which is where he is now, midlife. Now, she said that autistic adults can work. So it says workplace struggles or strengths. Careers may flourish in areas of special interest, structure, or autonomy. You hear that word? Autonomy. They want to be able to do things independent, autonomy, with nobody like, hey, shut your door. You know what I mean? But workplace politics, sensory environments, and tasking can be very draining. We just learned a lot about autism tonight. I learned a lot about autism as people get older, and it ties into, leaders are rare. So when you have autism, sometimes you need someone to be a leader and help you transition in life and become independent, and that could be very hard on the parent. Like Marlisha said, her friend's son still lives with her, and it has been very rough on the parent because they are like attached to the parent. They don't really have an opportunity to go and just be independent because they have a different battle, a different obstacle that they must face every single day. And it says, why many adults are diagnosed late. Many people born in the 1980s or earlier were missed as kids, especially if they were verbal and academically gifted. So even gifted kids can have autism and have those issues because, they're smart. People don't think nothing is wrong. if they were women or non-binary or had their symptoms misattributed as anxiety, ADHD, trauma, or being weird. Wow. So, what are some strengths often seen in autistic adults? Their honesty and loyalty, strong pattern recognition and analytical thinking, unique creative expression, deep focus on passions, empathy, and justice sensitivity. That's very interesting. Now, here is something that may help us, guys. Support and strategies for autistic adults. This led us somewhere tonight. Because you asked me, so what should I tell my friend? Type it in the chat. So what should you tell your friend? Type it in the chat. And it's something else she said. He's not trying to be good to please the parents. He's doing it for himself. And look what happened. I said they all need help. They need Jesus. So what should I tell my friend? Type it in the chat. So what should you tell your friend? I don't know if I'm going to type this all in the chat, but I can say it. So support and strategies for autistic adults. What I've been saying the whole time. Therapy with a neurodivergent affirming provider. Therapy with a neurodivergent affirming provider. So that's what type of provider he needs. I will type this one. Because autism is a neurodivergent issue, so they need a neurodivergent provider, somebody who understands this. Okay? The second thing is accommodations at work, quiet space, written instructions, and flexible hours. So if he does move out and get a job, he would definitely need to tell his provider that, hey, I have autism, I need special accommodations for my disability. And with the Disability Act, they have to accommodate him. So a lot of these places like the grocery stores, they can do bagging, they can do things like that to try to, have a job. Or if he has other skills, they can do that. Mindfulness and regulation techniques to prevent burnout. So they need, meditation, exercise. So ensure he needs to get professional help, period. Community and peer support, in person and online. So maybe he can find somebody online in the community to help, support him. It's good that he has a friend like you. And to anybody who is a friend, that is really important because they are loyal and loving, and the community and the peer support is important. And also unmasking safely and reclaiming identity without shame. Alright, so don't be ashamed of it because it's just who you are and everybody is different. Yep. So it says healing past confusion and trauma. I feel like he need to do that. Build self-compassion. Be compassionate for himself. Find supportive spaces and advocate for his needs. So there's a lot that he can do there. I learned a lot tonight about autism. It's crazy how these lives start one direction and they go a whole nother direction just from conversation. So this will help me treat my patients better. It's always good, and every day, we on the Hood to Hooded podcast, we go from hood to hooded. We always trying to grow the mindset, learn, talk about different things, and just be open-minded, have fun, and understand the world, and have a safe space to just chill and talk. My friend is good with math and Spanish and some sign language. He's good with putting things together. He likes electronic stuff with numbers. Wow. So he seems like he needs to do something with maybe engineering type thing, or with accounting, or with a bank, something like that. But there's so many things that he could do with those type of skills. But he definitely needs to seek professional help, him and his parents, to get him on the right track. Thanks, Doc. You made me and my friends so happy. You are welcome. But yeah, guys, I am getting ready to get off of here for tonight. We learned a lot about autism tonight, being a leader. About family sticking together and just chill vibes. So I'm getting out of here, and guess what? I will see you all tomorrow. Any final questions or thoughts before I wind it down? Thank you, Clifford 2000 fan, for always showing up, providing some great feedback. Thank you, Marlisha Marsh, for your input tonight and always being so positive. I really appreciate you. From the bottom of my heart, my YouTube tribe is lit. Thank you, YouTube. If you guys aren't following me, I'm trying to get to 10 followers on Twitch. I have 6 now, so I am 4 away. Thank you to my 4 followers on Twitch, all of my new subscribers on YouTube, and my Facebook family. Tonight was a weird broadcast again. I'm just happy that I showed up, and we still on this consistency challenge. We have 300 plus more days together, guys. Switching gears, any more dentist jokes? Nah, no more dentist jokes. No more dentist jokes. 937 subs on YouTube. Yes! I had a little burst yesterday. You know, I lost 2 or 3, and now I'm at 937, so I guess I'm not too boring. I guess I'm not too nerdy. Yeah, but I don't mind the slow growth. Thank you guys for listening to my TED Talk tonight. I had a blast. Just chilling out, talking, learning about autism, trying to help figure out your friend's situation, you know. So yeah, I will see you all tomorrow for another day of the Hood to Hooded podcast. Okay? I don't know what we're going to talk about. I'm just going to show up. Alright? Progress over perfection is the key. Progress over perfection. But I can say from the beginning of this challenge to now, I'm definitely growing. I'm definitely proving something to myself and enjoying, you know, growing with you guys. Good night, Clipper 2000 fan. I wish you the best of luck, you and your friend. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.